Ted, what's going on?
Oh, not much, Dan. How are you doing?
Ah, the same old, batshit crazy. The circus gets bigger every day, but ain't life a joy?
Yes, yes, that's definitely one way to put it. What was that? What's that? Bukowski book? Like uh, what was it like the pirates had taken over the ship or something? I'd bastardize it, but
Yeah.
um, you know, yeah, it definitely feels that way sometimes. Uh, Man, feels like it's been forever since we've been here talking for everybody on the internet.
Yeah. It sure does. And of course I'm having technical issues and my camera don't work. I can't get my audio and my camera to work at the same time. And I felt like it was more important for people to hear what I say than to see my face, Ted.
So it's just going to be, me talking to myself in Dan's disembodied voice. So just bear with us this month, and it will be back to possibly regularly scheduled programming next month.
Regularly scheduled chaos, more likely.
Yes, yes, yes. More like that.
Maybe just maybe just a tad more ethereal. Like ethereal? How do you say that word?
Ethereal.
Ethereal. Maybe just a tad more that word this time.
Yes.
Uh a brief trigger warning. The next segment of this episode contains conversations about mental health, psych wards, medications, and suicidal ideation. Hey Ted, it has been a long time since we've hung out.
Yeah.
And what we should do is find out what's been going on with your mental health, comrade.
Okay. Well, since we last spoke, I guess last year, I went into the hospital in February of this year for a routine, or not so routine, checkup. And they put me on Topamax, which is a mood stabilizer. And the way I've been describing it is it feels like for the last 5 years of my life, I've been kind of sitting in a dark room and it's like somebody came in and opened the curtains. It's like the sunshine is finally coming in and I feel like more aware and more alert, and not every day is perfect, and you know I feel like I still have a hard road ahead of me, but my therapist is saying that she feels like we're getting to a point where I can say that my symptoms are managed, which is not something I ever thought I would hear a therapist say. um so yeah, uh a lot going on that front. How about yourself? I know you've had quite a few medication changes over the last few months.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I wanted to say uh, that's a crazy amount of courage to finally say, hey, I can't do this on my own. Like, can you help me? Like, even for somebody like you and me that has been active in mental health therapy for a long while, for years, been medicated for years for our mental health issues, right? Even for somebody like you and me, that takes a lot of courage to say, hey, I can't do this by myself anymore. I want to commend you for that, Ted. I'm glad you did that. Proud of you.
Yeah, it uh it you know it was sort of a cross section of between talking to Isla and talking to my friend Seth, who is a local friend of mine. Um, of just kind of hashing it out. I think I was already kind of arriving at that point myself, but it was like between talking to the two of them, it was just like, yeah, yeah, I probably need to go into treatment again, you know. Um, and you know, as soon as they broached the mood stabilizer, Um, I knew that that was something that, I had been arguing for a long time, and for some reason had had the hardest time getting a psychiatrist or anybody to be like, yeah, let's go that route. Um, but they finally did, and I'm glad they went the route with the Topamax because the other options were like lithium, which sounds like no walk in the park. I mean, you got to do blood draws regularly, you got to monitor your salt intake. Uh, all kinds of things can go wrong.
Yeah,
Um,
lithium. I was on lithium once in my 20s. I don't know if you've ever been on lithium, comrade, but it's
no, no,
the only way I know how to describe my experience with lithium is it's like somebody stole all of the sunshine from the world and everything you feel is gray. That's the only way I know how to describe it. It's like it's the worst zombie feeling drug I've ever taken in my life. Like I literally felt
yeah,
like going through life.
yeah. That was kind of how this one guy I talked to when I was in there described it. He was like, you'd ask him how he was doing, and he'd be like, I'm just kind of here, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I mean, and to be fair and very clear, like in some cases, like even maybe me in my 20s, even though I might not want to admit that, that feeling might have been preferable to like strong suicidal ideation in that moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah. So my mental health. So I have traditionally, I'm bipolar. I got ADHD combined type. Complex PTSD, anxiety, all this crazy, crazy shit. And I found out recently, on top of all of that, I have some moderate brain damage, most likely from my earlier days of being a violent, homeless, drug addict, and drunk. And I survived all that, and I'm here now. And that little bit of brain damage, makes all of my other mental health harder to manage. So in January of this year, I was in a pretty dark spot. And, like struggling to know, hey, am I going to make it through this winter without offing myself? And that's like, it's a bad place to be. So I had a good psychiatrist visit in February, and my psychiatrist and I agreed to switch my Wellbutrin to another drug called Auvelity, and to switch my ADHD medication from Strattera to Quellbri, a new drug. Now, usually I sit down and I research all the side effects and make sure these drugs don't interact with the other drugs I take and don't interact with bipolar people. For example, some antidepressants will fuck up people that have mood instability issues, and I'm bipolar and I have that, right? So this time I didn't check anything. And of course, you can figure out how this is about to go. The Quellbri made me more suicidal. And that, like, so usually by the time March rolls around, late March, early April, I'm coming out of the winter dark, right? I'm like starting to feel like there's some hope and light in the world again. You know what I mean? Like winter's a hard time of the year for me. So anyway, this year I didn't do that. And it took me a while to realize the Quellbri was like making it worse. So like I had to stop that and go on a different medication that has been working, or hasn't it hasn't really worked a lot for my ADHD, but I'm no longer suicidal every day, which is a little bit of a relief. Like I'd like to not be that way at all throughout the week, but yeah, this is better than it was, so we'll take it. And then
yeah.
furthermore, the antidepressant ability gave me some erectile function issues, we'll say, dysfunction issues. And if I'm just not those side effects have worsened my desire to hang around this planet. So I was in a really
It'll
bad.
do that.
Yeah, so I found myself from January until now, basically, in a really tough, rough spot. But gratefully, because of my years of mental health experience, and going to therapy every 2 weeks and having a good therapist and a good psychiatrist and being open and honest with my partners, like I was able to get through this with minimal damage inflicted. You know what I mean? Which there have been, by the way, I stopped taking my medication without permission for 3 days during that stretch, which is something that I pledged not to do. Like I have a commitment. I talked to my therapist, and my partners before I change medications, right? Because I'm
Right.
bipolar and I'm crazy. You know what I mean? But also I'm bipolar and I'm crazy, Ted. And sometimes I just say fuck it. But I 3 days later I corrected my mistake. And in the past, I have stopped those medications for weeks at a time and wound up in a bad crash. So this time I was able 3 days later to jump back on track. I had very few repercussions. My medication changes have helped this month. So, there's some more light.
Well, I mean, you got from one end of the dark tunnel to the other end, for hell or high water. You know, it sounds like we both did, and you know, I think that there's a lot to be said for our support systems in both our cases.
Yeah. A special note from hosts Ted and Dan. If you or somebody you know is struggling with feelings of despair, loneliness, battling their mental health, or God forbid, struggling with suicidal thoughts, we want you to know that you are not alone. And we want you to know that help is available. Anyone at any time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, is free to call the National Mental Health Hotline. It's simple to find them. Just dial 988. Once again, anyone, anywhere, if it's you that's struggling or someone close to you or somebody that you know, please dial 988 to find help. Thank you.
My name's Ted Jackins, and I approve this message.
Hey, Ted, it has been a long time since we've hung out. And that
Yes.
means that you have not, as the music director, music guru, uh, co-captain of the Just Another Way to Waste 60 Minutes podcast ship, shared what you've been listening to with the masses lately. So my
Yes,
question, have you heard anything good lately?
I have. I In this month, it's going to be all about the guitars, all about the hardcore punk, all about the garage punk, all about the punk, 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 punk. Ted is apparently very angry, as I think a lot of us are right now. So that's what I've been reaching into my bag of tricks to listen to. Um, what have I got for you? I've got a couple of things that I want to use to highlight. Uh, First off, use to highlight this record store out of Raleigh, North Carolina called Sorry State Records. It's a record store and a record label, and they consistently put out some of the most interesting music in North Carolina, hardcore, experimental, all sorts of stuff. And they put out these guys. I'll send you pictures to get the better images of. It's by a band called Double Negative, who I used to see consistently open for pretty much everybody when I was living in the Raleigh Durham area. They're a hardcore punk band from the Raleigh area who are awesome. Really great singer, really, really great rhythm section, just old school Black Flag kind of style hardcore punk. And these are the Hardcore Confusion volumes, a series of EPs that are interconnected. And I was really happy to track those down. Um,
Oh, yeah.
and then uh, let's see. You'll love the title of this one. This is Doom, Police Bastard.
Yeah.
Um, that is one of two of the top selling crust punk albums of all time. The other one was called, I believe, like Die Nazi Scum, which I love that those are the two top selling crust punk albums ever. But this album I believe they were a UK band, totally anarchists in their politics, just super, super pissed off. Just very much the kind of music that I want to hear right now. Like it, came out in late '80s, and it sounds like it was recorded yesterday because the lyrics and just the presentation just really kind of speaks to the moment. You know, especially in the wake of just everything going on with ICE, everything going on with Black Lives Matter, just all of it. Um, let's see what else. Switching gears slightly, I've also got a 7-inch here by the Gories. The Gories are a great Detroit garage rock band, kind of contemporaries of the White Stripes and bands like that. They never quite got their due, but I think that they definitely deserve more credit. There's two guitar players and a drummer, no bass player required in that band, and they made a wild racket. Um, also, want to mention another record that came out on Sorry State. Just came out this week. It was my birthday purchase. My birthday was on Tuesday. Uh, that was Love Letter to Hardcore by Shaved Ape. Uh, that is a one-man hardcore project. He's playing drums, guitar, bass, and singing, and it is like throwback. It sounds like it would have been like the cassette of some forgotten hardcore band that somebody handed you at a skate park in 1983, but it was recorded this year, and it is amazing. It's really, really good. I'm going to be listening to it a lot. And also want to mention the Citric Dummies, their album Zen and the Arcade of Beating Your Ass. That is a fucking phenomenal kind of power pop, punky, like new wave. Uh, the hooks on that album don't reveal themselves right away, but it's super catchy, really funny. Obviously, big sense of humor there. Just a really, really great record. So that's what I've been listening to this month.
Hell yeah. Uh, you want to hear something that makes it a really, really fucking small world, Ted?
What's that?
You mentioned the Gories.
Yes.
They're from Detroit, Michigan.
Editor's note: podcaster Dan Denton repeatedly says that the Gories and the Dirt Bombs invented grunge punk. That, of course, is absolutely not true. Grunge punk comes from Seattle. But the Gories and the Dirt Bombs from Detroit did usher in garage punk and garage rock. So please remember that podcaster Dan has brain damage and mental health issues and occasionally fuck shit up like this. Thank you for your attention.
Yes.
Along with the White Stripes,
Uh-huh.
the Gories were one of the first grunge punk, like influential. They were founded by a guy named Mick Collins.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Mick Collins was also a member of the seminal punk band, grunge punk band, the Dirt Bombs from Detroit.
Fantastic band. Yes.
Yeah, the bass player for the Dirt Bombs is a guy named Jim Diamond. Jim Diamond started a recording studio called Ghetto Recorders.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They recorded all of the Dirt Bombs albums at his studio. Jim Diamond is also probably, besides that awesome history, he's probably more famous and more well known for discovering Jack White and the White Stripes, and
Oh, wow.
and being the first person to record them for their records.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So this Jim Diamond lives in Dearborn, Michigan, near and is great friends with a buddy of mine named Don Dupree, who has many times been voted the best songwriter in Detroit. And Dupe is a firefighter, and Duke's wife, Allison Lewis, is an incredible songwriter and singer too. And I had a chance to write a kind of like do an interview and write a review of her album that came out called Lady of the Highway a few years back. And that album was recorded by Jim Diamond. And so
Wow.
at the opening, like at the the record release party, I got to like meet Jim Diamond, the bass player from the Dirt Bombs, and you know what I mean, like the guy that found
Yeah.
quarters and like was part of that, like was part of that early seminal history in like grunge rock. Like that's like
Mhm.
that was like one of the coolest things ever for me. It was I got a chance to meet Jim Diamond. You know.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, I love all that like dirty, like bluesy, garagey rock kind of stuff. Like there's a lot of it out of Detroit, and then like Memphis, Tennessee has a really good scene, and then San Francisco, California has a really good scene of it that's more mixed with like psychedelic music. Um, and I love that stuff a lot too. But I'm always hunting down, and as you can see, I've been into the 45 singles. I've recently decided that that's probably my favorite medium of listening to music. There's just something so compact about it, and so direct, and you know, I love it. Uh, just playing singles over and over again.
Hey, friends, it's just another way to waste 60 minutes. Field correspondent Dan. I'm out here in the wild, and I want to bring you another Bigfoot sighting report. Now, once again, these sightings, as always, are certified by the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization. So the BFRO says that Bigfoot recently has been seen walking through the swamp in Louisiana, walking near the tracks in West Virginia, and walking along a river in Oklahoma. Which makes me wonder, is there more than one Bigfoot? How many are there? Is one of them just like, is he capable or she capable of walking like 500 miles a day? Like, how does this work out? I'm not entirely sure because I am not an expert. But one thing I am confident in, Bigfoot is out there. He's out there, she's out there somewhere. And the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization is closing in on them closer every day. Stay vigilant, friends.
I just think it's amazing that all of my best friends fit inside my computer.
Real quick, let me throw out a couple of music things I've listened to. I'm not, and I never will be, the music director nerd level that my comrade Ted Jackins is, which is one of the things I love about Ted. Like Ted's you're a walking dictionary, like walking encyclopedia of music.
Yes.
Anyway, a couple of things I've listened to that I highly recommend lately. Buddy Guy has a new NPR Tiny Desk concert. It came out 2 months ago, and it was a fundraiser. It raised $132,000 for NPR. Now, the thing about this Buddy Guy Tiny Desk concert is it is one of the best blues jams, like 20-minute long blues jams that I have heard in a long, long time. And Buddy Guy is 89 years old. He'll be 90 in July. And that dude is still throwing down blues like nobody else. Like, it's
Oh,
incredible.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah,
Yeah,
highly recommend the concert. Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, Buddy Guy's like a legend, it's
Mhm.
yeah. Okay. Dr. John, the famous jazz New Orleans blues funk R&B master. Uh
Yes.
Dr. John is a one of a kind musician that is somewhere between like Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show and like the baddest ever blues musician in the world. Somewhere in that mix is Dr. John. Uh
Yeah.
he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Uh anyway, I've been listening to him a lot lately. I highly recommend his record, Dr. John's Gumbo. Okay, that's enough music for now. Uh, well, there's never enough music, Ted. You know what? I because I like, I'm like home in my camper a lot right now because of my health and stuff and finances. Like I
Mhm.
have music on probably 14 to 16 hours every day of my life.
I'm about the same,
Yeah,
and then when if I go on a walk around the neighborhood, I have my headphones on,
yeah.
you know, because that was the trick that got me to finally leave the house during like the worst of my agoraphobia. Was I had a really good therapist who was like, "Have you ever tried these noise canceling headphones? Get you out of the house. Like it'll shut that noise because the outside world is a noisy place." And she suggested that, and she's like, just put the music that you want to hear on with noise canceling headphones and just try it. And I've been doing that. So yeah, I have music on practically around the clock. It's kind of like my buffer against the world.
Okay. Now, let me tell you about a few books I've been reading, Ted. Uh,
Okay.
I know you and I are like religious readers and music listeners too. Couple books. Larry Brown. Larry Brown is probably the best working class writer in American history. Uh, he is the only writer in the modern world that I know that never got a college degree and still wound up teaching college creative writing courses and becoming a writer in residence at like the Mississippi State University, Ole Miss, Montana, University of Montana, and some other places. That's how good of a writer Larry Brown was. He was two times voted. He was a two-time award recipient of the Southern like Best Novel or something, or Southern Best Fiction Award, which is like the most prestigious like award you can get in like the Southern United States. Uh,
Oh wow.
anyway, he has a memoir called On Fire about his days when he worked as a firefighter. So Larry was a Vietnam veteran in the Marine Corps, came home, became a firefighter for like 10 or 12, maybe 15 years, and he couldn't sleep very well, and he always wanted to be a writer. So on his 24-hour shifts in the fire department, when the other guys would be sleeping, he would sit and write. And he was rejected hundreds of times before he finally got short stories published and got some traction, right? His memoir On Fire is hilarious, and it made me cry a few times, and it like gave me such a deeper respect for firefighters. But also what I really appreciate about it is Larry Brown is a master storyteller. And that book is like a bunch of short stories that make up like his memoir. I went back and recently reread Nellie Bly's groundbreaking book, The Madhouse. Nellie Bly, for those that don't know, in the 1880s, at the direction of Joseph Pulitzer, who the Pulitzer Prize is named after, in his newspaper, pretended to be insane and got herself committed to a woman's insane asylum in the 1880s and wrote a groundbreaking series of articles about the conditions of this woman's insane asylum. And then,
Oh
of course,
wow.
those columns became this book, The Madhouse. So that her work like exposed like the awful, like it was like torture. It was like a torture chamber, and it
Yeah.
was mostly minority women. It was all like poor women. It was women that like there were women in that madhouse. Like your husband could claim you were an insane, and they would commit you to a madhouse. So it was like all
Yeah.
poor women that couldn't stand up for themselves, and she exposed the conditions of it. And like in this back in those days in the 1880s, the city of New York like pledged a $1 million like fund to like revamp like their mental health, the way they treated mental health patients in New York City, and that was like
Right.
a revolutionary, groundbreaking like moment for mental health treatment uh, and journalism. She was like the original Gonzo journalist long before she just didn't make herself really the story. The story was around her. Where Hunter
Right.
Thompson made the story kind of about him, right? Uh,
Hmm.
Anyway, I love Hunter too. The Madhouse, the book, uh, also has a couple of her other stories where she participated in like getting hired in like a box factory to see what working conditions were for like the working poor women. And that exposed like some working conditions in these poor factories too. And I appreciate that because a lot of people don't know, like especially like in the beginning days of the Industrial Revolution in America, from the 1880s to about the 1910s, 1915s maybe, uh, mills and factories and these blue collar industries, industrial industries, were so awful that
Mm-hmm.
American workers had an average lifespan of 37 fucking years, Ted.
Yeah.
If you
Oh
worked
yeah.
in a textile or steel mill, you had an average lifespan of 37 fucking years because you worked with poisonous chemicals. You worked 12, 14, 16-hour days, 6 days a week. You broke your back to like barely be able to feed your family if you could, you know? And
Mhm.
so I really appreciate that Nellie Bly was kind of like in the early, not only did she revolutionize mental health treatment, revolutionize journalism, but she also like begin to help expose like the conditions in these like crazy fucking factories, you know?
Mhm.
Which by the way, think about this. This woman, Nellie Bly, was doing this shit 20 fucking years before she even had a right to vote. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
damn, think about the like courage and the bravery. Like I can't even imagine, you know. Anyway, that book's an incredible book. People should read it. It's a short read. Uh, and lastly, a book called Roadside Assistance, a Roadside Press Reader. This book is published by Roadside Press, and this Roadside Assistance is a collection of 48 different writers that have been published by Roadside Press, and it is a beautiful anthology full of diverse voices. And it is like, so Roadside Press is trying to do this anthology collection in lieu of having to do a GoFundMe this year. Because oftentimes, you know, a small press does a GoFundMe to help pay for the ISBN numbers and all that shit. Uh,
Mhm.
Internet sites cost money to host and all these different things. So
Yeah.
hopefully, this roadside assistance will be a way to raise some funds to help out the press this year instead of a GoFundMe. I highly encourage everybody to go buy it.
Okay.
Welcome to a new segment of the Just Another Way to Waste 60 Minutes podcast. In this segment, we will read you a real life news article, and you will have to decide, does this article sound like apocalypse or nah? First one comes from the USA Today, published May 5th, 2026, just a couple days ago at 4:43 p.m. Headline: Pentagon downplays reports of Iran's kamikaze dolphins. U.S. defense officials downplayed reports on Tuesday, May 5, that Iran has deployed so-called kamikaze dolphins while stopping short of addressing whether the U.S. uses marine mammals in military operations. Asked directly at a Pentagon briefing, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said he could not confirm or deny any U.S. capabilities involving dolphins, but stressed there is no evidence Iran employs them. The moment came amid heightened naval tensions and renewed focus on maintaining safe passage for commercial ships through the Strait of Hormuz. There you go. Apocalypse or nah?
Could I get like plastic surgery, but for my emotions?
Happy 420, motherfuckers.
What's
And
up?
hi, Ted.
Howdy.
How are you?
I'm high. How are you?
Uh, I'm Dan. How are you? Yes, this is also we're here with special guest Jess Bryant today. Happy who 420. Is not only a celebrates 420 like some of us do. She is also a poet and an artist. So welcome, Jess Bryant. Happy 420. Happy 420. Uh, Ted.
Yes.
Will you tell everybody on camera what your hat says?
My hat says, this machine kills fascists. It was ordinarily affixed to what he got through his guitar, meaning that his guitar itself was a machine of art that destroyed fascism. I like that it's affixed to my brain because my brain acts as a machine that itself is used to operate a machine, my body, which creates art that then destroys fascism in its own way. Uh, and you know, everything that I do is an act of resistance in some kind of way in this crazy fucked up world. So, you know, I, I'm wearing this hat today. I wear it very proudly in the podcasts and stuff like that. But living in the small town in the South, you know, kind of shy away from wearing this out of the house. I'm not much of a fighter, and we, yeah, you,
I live in a near a village of like 1,200 people and a small town of 4,000 people, and I'm like one of the very few long-haired hippie kind of people. So what I've learned to do, Ted, is I can get away with it if I wear my UAW, because I used to be a UAW chief steward and I worked at Jeep for years on the assembly line. So I can sometimes pass as that like burly, like factory worker hippie.
mhm,
So if I wear my
yeah,
UAW shirt, like
yeah,
I'm not wearing shit that says fascist. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Wearing
right,
like Kamala Harris or Bernie Sanders shirts or Obama hats, or Joe
yeah,
Biden, you know. But
yeah.
if I wear my UAW jacket, I can get away with being a hippie if they don't look too close, you know.
Right, right. Yeah, I get a pass for a lot of stuff in the neighborhood now. That way, people have like seen me at a lot of the art events. Like, it's weird, man. Like, I'm starting to like get recognized in the neighborhood for stuff
Heck
I've
yeah.
done. You know?
That, that means you're doing the deed. You're putting the work in, man. Ted, you know. I gotta
Yeah,
start calling
yeah,
comrade or homie. Let's let's me and you. Will you do me a favor?
yeah.
Let's me and you find like a gender neutral, like for lack of a better word, you know, friend term, bro term, hang out. You know what I mean? You know how like people have a nickname
Right.
instead of like, I guess dude would work, but let's find something original to us. Like homie would work, comrade would work, but let's me and you think of something eventually. And will you
I
help,
enjoy I enjoy Comrade, honestly.
comrade?
Because
I like comrade.
it's you know because of the communist linkage. I like that, and I like that it's one you don't hear as often
And
anymore.
it pisses off the right people when you say it.
Exactly,
It's a dog whistle
exactly.
to the right people. It's a
Hmm.
dog. It's a dog whistle repellent to the right people.
Exactly.
Uh, hey, happy 420. By the way, when everybody watches this someday, uh, I had a chapbook published today.
Oh
Uh,
yes, congratulations on that.
Speaking of your hat, I had a chapbook published today called Fuel for the Resistance. It's on Pure Sleeves Press. It's 9 poems.
Yes.
And this chapbook is my response to this machine kills fascists. You know, I've written about this some, Ted, and maybe talked
Mhm.
about it.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
but used to when I was a union official, I was I had periods where I was able to manage my emotions and things way better than I do now with my mental health. And I was
Yes.
a union official, and I was like, oftentimes I marched with Black Lives Matters and like you know in the back of the rallies. I like would hold signs at their rallies. I have probably marched 50 different picket lines with union workers, and occasionally I would have like the bullhorn to like yell weird shit, you know, yell the phrases, you know, hey, hey, we won't go, sucker, what, you know, whatever the union phrases are. I'm stoned. Uh, but now, because my brain and things have shifted in my life, you know, I'm having a harder time in the last few years managing my emotions and my PTSD. Some like one of my PTSD triggers is authority figures and cops because when I was unmedicated and actively using drugs and alcohol, I'll say. In my 20s, I occasionally had some really negative altercation. And in the wrong moments, in a confrontational moment, if I can't control my emotions and cops are involved, I might try to fight them again and they might taser me. And I'm not emotionally equipped to, you know what I mean? I wasn't emotionally
Yeah,
equipped
I get it.
24 either.
I,
Now I'm smart enough to know, hey, Dan, stay away. So anyway, that's a long story. A long way to tell you this chapbook is my I and I know you agree to this. We've talked about this. I think that I think as artists we have a job. At least I feel a heavy duty to speak for the voiceless, to speak for the working class, my people, speak for
exactly.
the drug addicts that didn't make it, speak for the mentally ill that don't have a voice or don't know how to like put it in words. Uh, so this chapbook is my response to finding a different way to resist, finding a different way to add fuel to the fire. So it's called Fuel for the Resistance.
Yeah, actually, my last chapbook, "What Did You Die?" I dedicated it to all the poets who came before.
Oh, no shit.
Was what the opening like dedication was, which there's
I want
not
to
just
But did you die?
do what?
never mind. Keep going. I'm high.
Oh, okay. Uh, 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 but that goes not just for all the poets that people know, but the poets who are never published, the poets who toiled away in their bedroom for
Oh, yeah, man.
years and years and years and died penniless. Never publishing a word. Hell, I could have been one of them. I almost was one of them.
Yeah.
Um,
I I've said this before. I think probably like somewhere out there, the best songwriter that maybe ever lived is in a bar somewhere in Idaho or Montana with 20 people. And he's playing to cover every third song because people, or he's only playing an original song every fourth song because people want to hear covers. You know what I mean? And he's working 50 hours in the machine shop or 50 hours at the Dollar General, you know what I mean? Or gas station just trying to make it, you know? But speaking of which, you've had a very working class background until you've had some disability struggles.
yes.
So you're very much working class also. And you're, I don't, you have also protested. So you have been involved with protesters on the street too, but you also have some issues that keep you from like being out there all the time, right?
Yeah, yeah, agoraphobia, social anxiety of all stripes. It's weird. It hits me at the weirdest times, like going to the grocery store, going to the bank, you know, uh, gas stations. God, gas stations. I will have an absolute panic attack, mostly because I worked in gas stations.
Yeah.
And I just have a lot of PTSD rooted in having worked in gas station.
Uh, Ted. Well, happy 420, everybody.
Happy 420.
Ted. Probably not. Ted, will you
Yeah.
have you written any poems lately? I know you
Uh,
picked poems to read today. Will you read them for us? And then maybe I'll read a poem or two, and maybe Jess will read one before me.
I'm
So,
gonna read one I wrote the day I got out of the hospital. Yeah, I was hospitalized recently, and I wrote this the day I got home. This is called "I Was Put Here to Unlock God."
mm.
The girl with the saddest eyes you've ever seen will hug you the day you leave, tell you she loves you. Those same eyes, shrink wrapped with tears, and she'll say, I'll probably be here forever.
Ooh,
Mm.
what the hell? Yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah. You got another one?
Um,
But did you write that your recent stay?
yes. That was, I wrote that, what was that, back in February? This is untitled. An artist is a creature of habit. So yeah, I subscribe to a steady diet of mental whispers, cannabis daydreams, sleep late and eat too much or too little, depending on my mental health. But in between, I split open my chest wall and bare my soul to the world, chasing inspiration at the end of a candle that burns at both ends, which is always easy to find in the darkness.
Oh yeah. Nice. By the way, what are you hitting on the vape? Are you hitting a THC vape on 420 over there,
I,
comrade?
I am. I am.
Oh,
This is another North Carolina farm, Astria Farms. They are, I believe, out of Asheville, North Carolina. I can't remember. I've had this one for about a month, and it's still hitting really good. Um, oh, we got a live one.
we're smoking some Diamond Dabs infused joint that might. Oh, hang on a second. I'm polyamorous, and my other partner, Claire, got me a bunch of infused joints called Diamond Dabs. And I don't know what flavor this is, but it's spicy, and they're like 40% THC, and we hit a bunch of them today. Hell
They're
yeah!
smooth. They're good.
God bless Willie Nelson.
All right, what are you reading, honey?
You go ahead. You go
Me?
first, and I'll read one.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Tick, tick, ticking. I twirl the rings on my fingers, move them back and forth until the stones are just so. A nervous tick. I spin my rings around and around until my fingers are raw and dizzy as my head in a crowd. I fiddle with my rings, slightly left, slightly right, until I can breathe, counting rotations, 1, 2, 3. Call it a twitch or a savior, something to center me, ground me, regulate me. I twist my rings, 5 silver circles, encrusted with stones. 5 times each, count to 10, breathe. I spin my rings, chin up, act normal, try to smile. You'll be back to your sanctuary soon, where you can remove your rings and shields and just be you.
Nice.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I am like mentally ill and fresh on some like emotional bullshit. So I'm going to read a poem from my new chapbook. And fitting our fascist killing theme here, Ted, comrade. Uh, whenever I feel the most overwhelmed and powerless about the bullshit in the world or with my mental health, when I get to a point where I can sit down and write a poem about it and get the poem finished and shit, the act of doing that somehow means I'm on the path of like accepting it and processing it, right? It's like cathartic almost, right?
Oh yeah.
So when I was overwhelmed about some bullshit last summer, I wrote this poem. It's called I Am Waiting. This is in my new chapbook, Fuel for the Resistance, from Pure Sleeves Press. Hopefully it's sold out because it's only 50 copies by the time this airs. I am waiting for the cash register clerk at the local grocery store to put down her frock and walk through the automatic sliding doors and outside to join a revolution not yet started. For the rural postal carrier that drives a gold Oldsmobile to dump mail sacks from his trunk and drive away to find a revolution not yet started. For the local warehouse workers of a large national home improvement chain to get off their forklift trucks and put down their shipping label guns and grab their still full lunch buckets and head out liberated into a revolution not yet started. For the college students to drop their textbooks and defy the authority that they should naturally question and leave their classrooms to join a revolution not yet started. For the men in their cups down at the local tavern to put down their bottles and arise stumbling from their rickety bar stools, lurching into the light of day and into a revolution not yet started. For the construction workers to lay down their tools and remove their safety vests. For factory workers to shut down their machines and flood the exit gates like children on the last day of school and yip and yell and jubilee, joining a revolution not yet started. For the miners to come forth from the bowels of the earth and leave their hard hats and picks and piles at the mouths of the rich man's caves, and without washing their faces smile to join a revolution not yet started. For doctors and nurses to remove their stethoscopes and abandon their blood pressure cuffs, and throw off their white lab coats and stand up to a healthcare system they know is broken and join a revolution not yet started. I am waiting. I am waiting for line cooks to shut down their grills, for truck drivers to kill their engines, for office workers to unplug their copy machines. I am waiting for the garbage men to leave the garbage to collect itself, for janitors to lay down their brooms and leave their dustpans behind, and for municipal workers to abandon their municipalities and walk away from the bureaucracy to join a revolution not yet started. For clouds to let go their parasails and come crashing down to earth in great kamikaze ponds, and for the trees to shake loose their limbs and roar with the wind, bringing tenor to the song of a revolution not yet started. For mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters to join hands with neighbors near and far. For songwriters to hoist their guitars. For poets to pick up their pens. For painters to lift their brushes. For saxophonists and trumpeters to toot their horns and join a revolution not yet started. I am waiting for one voice to cry into the night, and for one shred of hope, and for the sun to awaken on the arsonists, to light the fires, to lead the anarchists, to rally the punks and unite the hippies, to invite the queers, to bring their rainbows and march in solidarity as one in a revolution not yet started. I am waiting.
Woo! Happy 420.
You 420.
Nice.
So yeah, that's one of my favorite new ones to like end a set with, Ted.
I fucking love it, Ken.
Yeah, I was, but yeah. Hey, so good to see you. Happy 420.
Yeah,
Happy 420. See
happy
you next
420.